Welcome to Yuan Production. Last year, I made a video talking about abusive males in Korean romantic drama. Honestly, I wish I could keep updating that video because some new dramas should be on that list. But in this episode, I'm not going to talk about male abusers. We're going to focus on some disturbing female sexual harassment and abusive scenes in Korean dramas. And then we can take a look at how some of the strong female characters help to romanticize sexual harassment instead of empowering the female audience. Like those violent, abusive male protagonists, female perpetrators have existed in Korean dramas for a long time. But they're less noticeable because these scenes are scattered in different shows, and sometimes they are not conducted by the main characters. One of the typical sexual harassment is performed by the Korean ajumma. In K-dramas, ajummas are often being portrayed in a stereotypical way. They usually have small curly perm. They enjoy hanging out together making kimchi and gossiping. They are vulgar, nosy, and sometimes violent. In Korean romantic shows and sitcoms, these ajummas can tease young guys verbally.
귀여운마, 네 손주나 보겠나? 아이고, 네 그 마른 장작이 더 오래 타는 건 머리나? 시끄럽다.
They can grope male characters' body parts without consent.
간단하게 주의사항을 몇 가지 알려드릴 테니까 잘 들으세요. 첫째, 멋대로 제 몸에 손대지.
아이고. 어른한테 무슨 주의사항이야?
They could swarm in a group to surround the young male character, to touch his face, rub his hands, touch his butt, and all of these can be done without his consent. We laugh at these male characters' panicked reactions because it's hilarious. Its hilarity comes from the fact that they're being harassed by a group of women that are seen as unattractive traditionally. It implies that the ajummas are just a group of unattractive, horny senior women that prey on young men. But are ajummas always the sexual offenders? That is absolutely not true. The 2019 film An Old Lady tackles this problem. A 69-year-old woman, Shin Pyo-jung, was sexually assaulted by a 29-year-old nurse assistant. But when she reported to the police, no one believed her. The questioning and the disbelief crushed her and made her doubt her own memories. It is clear that people have prejudice towards senior women. And this ajummas on screen undoubtedly help to reinforce this stereotype. Besides ajummas, we also have nunas, a group of women who are only a few years older than the male characters. In one of the famous Korean situation comedies, High Kick 1, there is one episode is about Yoon-ho's teacher Min-jung's friend, Kim Mi-ryo. When she visited Min-jung's place and saw Yoon-ho, she became obsessed with him. Mi-ryo used Min-jung's phone to trick Yoon-ho to Min-jung's place so she could spend some private time with him.
여드름 날 때 아니야? 아. 가만 있어봐. 어머, 팔뚝 좀 봐라. 야, 너 헬스 꽤나 했다? 어머머. 야, 너 공부는 안 하고 너 몸만 가꿨구나.
In another scene, she kept harassing Yoon-ho so he could take her home with his motorcycle.
나 지하철역까지만 태워주라.
아 싫어요 내리세요.
자식이 튕기기는. 달려. 윤호야, 달려. 달려, 윤호야. 어허.
At this time, Yoon-ho is only 16 and Mi-ryo is 26 or 27, which makes her a perpetrator sexually harassing a minor. When male characters are being harassed by nunas and ajummas, they are awkward, uncomfortable, yet compromising. We see how a masculine, charismatic guy suddenly becomes vulnerable and submissive in front of elder women. These clearly shows how the age hierarchy deeply affects Koreans' behavior. Sexual harassment is never just about sexual desire. It's about power and control over someone who they believe are inferior in modern society. These include differences in positions, physical strengths, and age. When confronting unwanted harassment from ajummas and nunas, It's harder for younger men to express refusal because it is generally frowned upon for being disrespectful in front of them. However, unlike being teased by Ajuma, being sexually harassed by Nunes can be a romantic scene in Korean dramas. In the 2016 JTBC show Madame Anton, the main female lead Ko Hae-lim's sister Ko Yu-rim likes Won Ji-ho, a psychology assistant professor. Won Ji-ho doesn't have a lot of experience in a relationship, but he has a crush on Ko Hae-lim while doing the psychological experiment. Even though Go Yu-lim knows that Won Ji-ho likes her sister, not her, she coerced him to kiss her as a practice, in the name of transforming him into a more sophisticated man for her sister. She told Won Ji-ho several tips, pushed him against the wall, then kissed him aggressively. Another famous Nuna is from the MBC drama in 2006, What's Up Fox or Fox Lady. When the female lead Ko Byung-hee heard that she had a uterine fibroid, she got very upset and drank soju for consolation. Ko Byung-hee ended up being so wasted and mistook her best friend's younger brother, Park Chol-soo, for another guy. Even though Park Chol-soo addressed several times that he's not the guy that she's looking for, Ko Byung-hee still forced him to have sex with her at that night. In What's Up Fox, Ko Byung-hee did acknowledge her mistake to Park Chol-soo in a later episode. But these two shows all used sexual harassment in a comedic way to serve characters' romantic relationships. Throughout these years, we have seen romantic stories of older women dating younger men. But oftentimes, men are still the ones taking initiatives. However, the wind started to change slowly in 2015. More and more female characters appeared on screen that are contrary to the traditional ones. They are strong, confident, not afraid of being straightforward in a relationship. And we have more male characters that fit into the soft boy concept. They're gentle, empathetic, and sensitive. We genuinely like these non-traditional characters because they're so refreshing. It makes us feel like we have finally come to an age when female leads are no longer passively waiting for romance. And the male leads don't harbor traumatic childhood memories anymore. While we're cheering for no more arm pullings, carrying on the shoulder cliches, some of our strong female characters' behaviors start to become questionable.
제가 오빠 어떻게 할지 몰라요.
뭘 어떻게 한다는 거죠?
장난. 아 진짜 개웃기네. 쫄았어요?
In 2015, in the TVN show Oh My Ghost, after being possessed by a virgin ghost who desperately needs a man for her afterlife, the female lead Na Bong-sun's personality changed dramatically. She enters the man's shower room without consent.
난 걸로 여기서 쉰다. 죄송합니다. 수고 많았습니다.
To gain sexual experience, she constantly harassing Na Bong-sun's boss, Kang Sung-woo. She picks his bedroom's door lock at night.
내가 이거 예상 못했을까봐 내가 다 이렇게 준비해왔지. 땀나. 일단 호랑이 굴에 들어가야 돼. 들어가야 잡아먹든 잡아먹히든 무슨 사단이 나도 사단이 나지. 근데 이거 왜 이렇게 안 돼? 영화에서 보면 막 이거 그냥 금방 되고 그러던데.
She breaks into his bedroom, attempts to rape him.
아니 잊지 마세요.
야, 왜 이래? 야, 너 미쳤어?
아니 잠깐만.
야, 너 진짜 미쳤어?
예, 미쳤다고 생각하세요. 그게 편하실 거예요, 셰프도. 저 그러면은 저 부탁 있는데 그거 들어주시면 안 돼요?
In another TVN drama, Itaewon Class, We also see the female lead Cho Iso kiss the male lead Park Se-roi after he had passed out on the ground.
좋아한다.
In the later episode, when she heard that Park Se-roi claimed that he had never kissed anyone, she did not acknowledge her assault and apologized. But instead, she reacted with a satisfied smile, because she knows that she's the one that took Park Se-roi's first kiss. Another popular female lead with antisocial traits appeared in It's Okay to Not Be Okay in 2020. Like the possessed Na Bong-son, Ko Moon-young harasses the male lead Moon Gang-tae with no apologies. She entered the men's changing room without permission, checked Moon Gang-tae's six-packs, refused to leave the scene, and stayed handsy while Moon Gang-tae pushed her out of the door. Why do we find sexually harassing men funny? Why do Korean dramas always put on amusing background music when a guy is being beaten? If we switch genders in all of these scenes, would it still be amusing?
아이고 깜짝이야. 언제 들어왔어?
아까요.
When male characters are being harassed, they are deprived of their masculinity. They are no longer the charismatic, cool guys, but are vulnerable, powerless men who have to give in. We get to see male victims being panicked, awkward, and don't know how to react properly. Some of these innocent passive reactions are considered being feminine because we normally see those on female characters. At the same time, the physical contrast creates absurdity. A skinny woman could easily pin a masculine guy like Kim Jong-guk against the wall.
뭐 하시는 건지.
김 PD님이야말로 이 건물에 볼 일이 없으실 텐데 무슨 일로?
With the help of background music, these scenes can be hilarious and romantic. And we find this contrast amusing because subconsciously we believe men cannot be sexually harassed or raped. But is this true? In US, according to National Sexual Violence Resources Center, about 24.8% of men in the US experienced sexual violence in their lifetime. And in a study published in 2016, about 68.6% of male victims reported the female perpetrators when asked whether they have experienced non-consensual sex, unwanted sexual contact, and sexual coercion.
Clumsy me.
These clearly shows that the male sexual victims and the female perpetrators are more prevalent than we thought. The male sexual victimization has been understudied and downplayed around the globe. I cannot find any statistics about male sexual victims in Asia. But in 2016, comedian and actress Lee Se-young and several female staff members on SNL Korea were accused of sexually molesting male K-pop idols, including B1A4, Infinite, Block B at the backstage. In the leaked footage, these female staff cornered these young idols and grabbed their genital areas. The police did investigate this case, but it was later dismissed since none of the idols reported being offended. To be honest, sometimes it is not easy for me to identify whether female characters are sexual perpetrators or not. In some romantic scenes, the male characters are surprised at first, but later get turned on and start to take initiatives. This makes me wonder if these men were being sexually assaulted or they enjoyed it as well. Their ambiguous reactions reinforce this misconception. Men are always hungry for sex. And this theory is firmly believed by some characters in K-dramas.
남자들은 그 마음이 없어도 가능하다면서요. 왜 이렇게 비싸게 굴어요?
In Korea, there is a popular saying, 남자는 다 늑대다. It means guys are all wolves. We could hear this in many K-pop songs and performances. This analogy is used to describe the nature of men. They're all dangerous animals who see women as their prey. Men cannot control their filthy thoughts and sexual impulse. They can be aroused at any time. They enjoy having sex with anyone in anywhere. One example is in What's Up Fox. When Ko Byung-hee asked Park Cheol-soo why didn't he resist her sexual harassment, since he was sober at the time and also a lot more stronger than her physically. And this is what he answered.
나 남자야.
The Men Are All Wolves theory helps to shape many male characters as impulsive and abusive. It in return reinforces the man cannot be sexually assaulted ideology, because you cannot rape or sexually assault someone if he is hungry for it. It downplays the aftermath of sexual assault, makes it harder for us to associate sexual assault victims with guys. As a young man, you can have awkward reactions, but only in a comedic way for laughs. Most of the time, even if male characters are surprised by the kisses or touchings, their uncomfortable experience rarely gets mentioned afterwards. They can still continue their interactions with the offenders, and even start to like them. There are no revolting emotions, no lingering traumas, no angry confrontations. But we know that in reality, guys are not 늑대. In the Miss Hammurabi, a JTBC show aired in 2018, when the female protagonist Park Chae-orum wanted her male co-workers to understand how women feel when sexual harassment occurred, she brought them to the ajummas in the wet market to give them a lesson.
아이고 남자는 허벅지지. 저 정도는 돼야 그냥 쓸만한데. 아이고 참 신하고 좋네. 꼬치는 역시 이렇게 좀 커야 된다니까. 아이고 뭔 소리 하고 있노. 작은 꼬치가 맵다는 말도 모르는 갑네.
With the trend of strong female characters going on in Korean dramas, it is important for us to question, what does strong really mean? Physical dominance.
이건 아닙니다.
이대로 있어.
Intimidating personality.
구두, 옷, 가방, 자동차. 내 눈에 예쁘면 탐이 나는 거고 탐나면 가져야지. 돈 주고 사던 몰래 세비던 억지로 빼앗던.
Thus, walking into men's shower rooms and beating them really convey the message of women empowerment. In recent years, we see a lot more female characters do and say all the cliché things that the male protagonists have done and said in the early 2000s. In It's Okay to Not Be Okay, we have Ko Moon-young recklessly drove Moon Gang-tae to the sea.
나 일박 할래? 아님 같이 죽을래?
This is paying homage to the classic drama I'm Sorry I Love You, which aired in 2004, where the male lead asks the female protagonist Eun-chae to either eat something for her house or to die with him.
밥 먹을래? 나랑 살래? 밥 먹을래? 나랑 같이? 죽을래?
We also have countless kapedong and cheesy pickup lines from female lead sister Im Hui-kyung in True Beauty.
좋아요?
네?
누가 그렇게 아무나 보고 웃으래?
제가 뭘요?
그렇게 예쁘게 웃으니까 여기저기서 신랑감으로 탐내는 거 아니야?
The aggressive female versus submissive male certainly creates a lot of interesting dynamics. But do women have to act like tough guys to be more powerful?
이제는 안 볼 거야?
By simply placing a female character doing these cheesy acts, we are once again romanticizing toxic masculinity. The only difference is that we're just simply projecting them on another gender this time.
우리 커플로
산 거잖아. 벗으라고.
So what am I suggesting here? Should we ban all the abusive scenes? Should we strictly monitor and tailor characters' dialogues and actions? No, I am not asking for media censorship here. But the consequences of abusive behaviors and sexual harassment need to be shown on different media platforms so they won't be so widely romanticized. We need to see male victims struggle when they face unwanted physical contact. We need to see the trauma the male victims suffer. One drama that shows the after effects of non-consensual kissing is in Because This Is My First Life. The female lead Yoon Ji-ho suddenly kissed the male lead Nam Se-hee at the bus stop. But after they accidentally became tenant and landlord, Yoon Ji-ho gave a sincere apology to Nam Se-hee for kissing him without his consent.
한 거 죄송했습니다. 많이 놀라셨죠?
She acknowledged her inappropriate behavior, and Nam Se-hee admitted that he was completely defenseless. Even though the show is not focused on sexual harassment issues, but it is a progress to see the male character's feelings didn't get brushed off this time. Because in real life, unwanted kiss is not the start of a romance, but the beginning of personal trauma. The feminism movement is on the rise in Korea. Different organizations and protests have been organized to bring awareness to social issues like spy cameras, pay gap, misogynistic hate crimes against women. There is still a long way to go in order to achieve gender equality. But stop romanticizing and making a joke out of sexual harassment on both genders is the step that the Korean drama has to follow.